Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy, Sports and Fitness Rants? I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Got another great video for you guys today, as usual. You guys know the deal on this channel, man. It's all about the facts here. It's all it's about, guys, the facts and the truth. There's no hate here. We're not here to tear down people with lies and narratives like you see every single day on the mainstream media. They'll tear down an entire era of players left and right, and don't even care about it. Don't matter. Whoever gets brought up, right, if they played before 2010, they're no good, especially guys that played with Michael Jordan or against Michael Jordan. Those are the worst basketball players in NBA's history, because why is that? They must tear down Michael Jordan to lift these guys, right? That exposes them. And I want to thank you guys for all your love, man. All your love, guys. It means a lot to me, man. Shout out to all you guys worldwide, everybody around the world, man. Australia, New Zealand, Poland, France, Belgium, Monte Carlo, Croatia, South Africa, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, Canada, the Philippines, Netherlands. If I missed you, I'm sorry. United Kingdom. Shout out to everybody out there, guys. It means a lot to me. Shout out to Atlanta, Georgia, ATL. Shout out to New York City, all my people in New York. Shout out to everybody in East LA. Shout out to everybody around the States, man. And I want to send a special shout out to Stan. Let me make sure I get this right. Stan 2537. Shout out to Stan 2537 for the super thanks. Leaves a note saying, "You are a cool dude. Keep up the good videos. I like that you get fired up a little bit." Yo, much respect to you, Stan. I appreciate that. Yes, you guys can tell in my videos. This means a lot to me. I'm passionate about this because this is our childhood, right? I grew up watching this stuff. So all these years later, they're trying to rewrite the history that we watched growing up, and we won't allow that. That to me is despicable. I won't allow it. It's my childhood, man. It's insane. So much respect to Stan for the super thanks. I appreciate that, guys. It humbles me. Once again, thank you for supporting my channel. And in this video, we're going to speak about LeBron James versus Michael Jordan and how LeBron James is not coachable like Michael Jordan was coachable. And you guys know what to do, man. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, many times when you have a LeBron James versus a Michael Jordan debate, you will often hear people talk about Michael Jordan playing for Phil Jackson, right? And I've done a video on this, right, as it relates to Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson, the dynamic between them. Because one thing that you'll see or you'll hear often is that Michael Jordan needed Phil Jackson. This is what they'll say. Michael Jordan needed Phil Jackson to be a winner, right? It's a similar thing to the Scottie Pippen narrative, right? Michael Jordan did not win without Scottie Pippen, right? Michael Jordan did not win without Phil Jackson. However, what's always lost in that is the fact that Michael Jordan allowed Phil Jackson to coach. He allowed Phil Jackson to be great, right? We must remember that Michael Jordan allowed this. And what do I mean by that? Well, guys, we think about this. Michael Jordan was the leader of the Chicago Bulls, right? He was the most popular player in the NBA when he came in. Not saying that he was the greatest player when he came in, but he was the most popular player from the minute he came into the NBA, right? Air Jordan. No one has impacted the NBA like Michael Air Jordan. Nobody, guys. And there have been great players and iconic players, but no one's Michael Jordan. So, Michael Jordan coming into the NBA, dominating the league, right? Taking over, being the most popular player. So with that popularity comes a little bit of cachet, right? Comes respect, right? You earn this stuff. So, Michael Jordan allowing Phil Jackson to bring in the triangle offense during the 1989-1990 season is a big deal, which goes to Michael Jordan being coachable. Let's think about this. The Chicago Bulls in 1989, right? The season before Phil Jackson came in. That year, the Chicago Bulls went to their first Eastern Conference final, right? So if we think about that way, the Bulls were actually improving, right? In 87, they lost to the Celtics in the first round. In 88, they lost to the Pistons in the second round. And in 1989, they lost to the Pistons in the Eastern Conference final. So if you look at the trajectory over those 3 years prior to Phil Jackson coming in, the Bulls were ascending, right? They were going up. There was no reason to believe that the Bulls with Doug Collins were not going to win an NBA championship. I'm not saying they would have won 3 in a row, not saying they would have won 6 with Doug Collins. What I'm saying is you can clearly see the evidence that shows the Bulls were going up when Phil Jackson came in. They were not stagnant. They were not going down. They were going up, right? So why am I saying that? Well, when we think about when Phil Jackson first came in, Michael Jordan was a little bit on the fence about this decision to get rid of Doug Collins. And what did Michael Jordan say the reason was? He said, I didn't understand why we were getting rid of Phil Collins after we had just made the Eastern Conference Finals, right? We have gone farther than we've ever gotten before. And now they got rid of Doug Collins. So he was a little like, I don't know about this, right? He was unsure about the move of Phil Jackson. He was unsure about it, guys. However, did he allow that to derail the Chicago Bulls? Did he allow that to destroy the team chemistry that they had been building? He didn't allow that to happen, right? He didn't allow his personal feelings or what he thought, right, destroy the team. Excuse me. So Phil Jackson comes in. He brings in what? Tex Winter's triangle. Another thing that Michael Jordan could have had a problem with, right? Because he thought about that also. These guys are trying to take the ball out of my hand, right? They're trying to take away from what I've been doing over the last several years, right? Making me change my game. Now I have to adjust and adapt my game to fit into a triangle. He could have easily been, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not playing this game with this guy. I don't even know who Phil Jackson was, right? He had no reputation. He wasn't a head coach before. He was an assistant. Michael Jordan could have easily said, I'm not listening to this guy. Who's Phil Jackson? He didn't do that. He allowed Phil Jackson to come in, implement the triangle, right? And what happened that first season? They got bounced out in the Eastern Conference Final in 7 games, right? The year before they lost in 6 games. So essentially, it was the same result in Phil Jackson's first year. And we get that, right? They had to learn the triangle that season, right? They also made some moves, right? All these things. So we have to understand that. That was Michael Jordan allowing Phil Jackson, right, to do this stuff. It's the coachability of these guys. When we think about LeBron James, and you hear the LeBron James fan club talk about Michael Jordan had Phil Jackson, and they try to make it seem like LeBron James never had any quality coaches. The only reason why people say that is because LeBron James is not coachable. He's never been coachable. Because once again, this goes back to LeBron James coming into the NBA as a high school, phenomenon, thinking he could do no wrong, coming into the NBA, right? Never adjusting his game, right? Nothing. And never learning to be coachable. That goes to him not playing in college. You think he's really being coached in high school? They're really coaching him in high school. An athletic freak like that, right? Who was just head and shoulders above everybody else in high school. You think he was worried about being coached? No, that's part of LeBron James' problem all these years later. Think about all the coaches that he's been through. You know what's funny, guys, is that they always talk about Phil Jackson, right? The LeBron James fan club. They always bring up Phil Jackson. However, Phil Jackson was coach of the year one time in his career, guys, right? One time he was coach of the year during the 1996 season, right? They won 72 games. That's what it took for Phil Jackson to win a Coach of the Year award. Mike Brown, who coached LeBron James, right, who was fired, has 2 Coach of the Year awards. 2. More than Phil Jackson. Now, I'm not saying that Mike Brown's a better coach than Phil Jackson. No way. But what I'm saying is the reason why Phil Jackson never won more than one Coach of the Year award is because the voters understood, and everybody understood, he had Michael Jordan on his team. That doesn't take away from Phil Jackson, but what that does is it gives more credit to other coaches who are doing more with less. Phil Jackson didn't do more with less, right? They didn't make it to the NBA Finals in '94 without Michael Jordan, right? That would have been him doing more with less, right? Phil Jackson did what he did with the greatest basketball player of all time, right? He didn't do more with less. Other coaches were doing more with less, which is why they were getting the votes. They were getting that award. Once again, this takes away nothing from Phil Jackson. But LeBron James has played with some quality coaches. Paul Silas, quality coach. Just talked about Mike Brown, quality coach. Frank Vogel, quality coach. Eric Spoelstra, he's not a quality coach. Eric Spoelstra, right? The guy that LeBron James tried to get fired in Miami, who's been there for what? Almost 20 seasons as a head coach there in Miami, guys. He's been the head coach there a very long time. What, 13, 14 seasons, something like that. The man's made it to several NBA Finals without LeBron James, right? And Dwayne Wade made it to a Finals, 2 of them, right? This is the guy who LeBron James was trying to get fired. The best coach that he played for, a guy who's proven himself to be a quality NBA coach, one of the greatest coaches of his era. That's Eric Spoelstra, the guy that was handpicked by Pat Riley. That's what Pat Riley saw in this man. Pat Riley knows what he's doing. LeBron James didn't want to play for that coach. Why is that? Because these guys were holding LeBron James to a standard, forcing him to practice, forcing him to work on his game, not dealing with his nonsense, his antics, his bully tactics, none of that stuff. They didn't fly. It didn't fly in Miami. So he wanted to get rid of Eric Spoelstra, which is why he left. Pat Riley wasn't playing no games with him. Pat Riley's a straight G. He's a real man. If LeBron James had Phil Jackson as his coach, how would that have went? I do not believe for 1 minute, guys, that if LeBron James was Michael Jordan in 1989 and they told him they were going to bring in a new coach, get rid of Doug Collins, because let's not forget, Doug Collins allowed Michael Jordan to dominate the basketball, right? That's what Doug Collins wanted. He wanted Michael Jordan to control the offense, right? Be the facilitator, essentially be the main ball handler, basically play the LeBron James system. That's what Doug Collins wanted. And he wanted them to be tough on defense, right? Keep the games tight so that Michael Jordan could close the deal in the end. That's the way Doug Collins played the game. That's how the Bulls were successful in 88 and 89, right? Michael Jordan dominating the ball, right? Being the facilitator, the scorer, right? And the Bulls playing tough, hard-nosed defense, right? Led by Michael Jordan, the defensive end. LeBron James, would that be something he would like? For a coach to come in and get rid of that style of play, take the ball out of his hands, bring in a triangle system, right? Allow other players to impact the game, impact the ball, right? Help them, help him. He's never allowed that. LeBron James has never allowed that. He's never allowed the coaches to put in an actual system. He's never allowed his teammates to help him. He's never maximized his teammates, right? By helping them with their confidence, right? By giving them a determined role on the team. They never have a role. It's whatever LeBron James wants them to do. Go stand over there in the corner and I'll pass you the ball. Go do this and I'll pass you the ball. You can't win like that, right? Not consistently, which is why LeBron James has never been consistent, because he's never allowed himself to be coachable. He's never allowed the coaches to implement systems to help the players around him, to maximize the players around him so that it can maximize him. He still didn't get that. And his fans don't understand that either. They really believe that LeBron James never has any help. They really believe that LeBron James raises his teammates, makes the players around him better, when there's no evidence to support that. Everything points to the contrary. Everything. LeBron James would have had Phil Jackson fired immediately. That first season, they got knocked off in the Eastern Conference Finals. Scottie Pippen had the migraine. They both would have been out of there. LeBron would have got Scottie Pippen traded. He would have got Phil Jackson out of there. He would have been like, I'm not playing in this style of offense. We got knocked down in the same place we did last year. I'm not doing this. That would have been LeBron James, right? There would have been instances where he was pouting on the bench. There would have been instances where he was crying, right, and moaning, flopping around, pointing at teammates, blaming this guy, blaming Phil Jackson. That's LeBron James' MO. This is what he's always done. That wasn't Michael Jordan. He was coachable, right? He was coachable in high school. When he went to college, he was coachable. He was able to play in a system at North Carolina, right? He wasn't the main star. He wasn't allowed to spread his wings per se and do whatever he wanted to. He fit into a role, into a system on North Carolina, right? He was coachable. Same thing in the Olympics. Bobby Knight talking about this guy. His work ethic and practice, right? Listening, being coachable. It didn't matter who it was. I told you, Michael Jordan had 3 head coaches in 3 years in the NBA. Right? Stan Albeck, Kevin Lowery, and then he had Doug Collins. 3 coaches in 3 seasons, guys. And whatever those coaches wanted him to do, Michael Jordan did it. Whatever they wanted. They always spoke about Michael Jordan and his work ethic and his willingness to learn and to get better. That's all it was for him. If he thought these guys, where instruction was going to get him better, he listened. He was coachable. That goes to Michael Jordan's greatness. That takes away from LeBron James' greatness, right? I've often told you guys, if LeBron James, right, learned to play in an actual system, right, which lends himself to being coachable, I believe that he would have a better finals record. But because he never allowed himself to be coachable for his teammates to play in a system, right, consistently, his results are not consistent because they were never allowed to be maximized. So we always hear he had no help. When in actuality, in reality, it was really that he didn't allow these guys to help him at that level, right? He didn't maximize them. He didn't help them help him. You guys know the deal, man, right? People don't often talk about being coachable and as it relates to your greatness, right? And as it relates to how you can win, right? But Michael Jordan always was coachable. Like I told you, having 4 head coaches, right? In 5 seasons or whatever it was. Always being able to be flexible, right? Whatever the coaches wanted, whatever they needed. Phil Jackson wanted to change it up a little bit. So Michael Jordan was willing to listen if he thought it was going to help him win. Because at the end of the day, that was all that was important to Michael Jordan was the winning, right? And that was the proof. He was coachable because he wanted to win. And if he thought he could get better, if he thought that was going to help the Bulls win, then he was willing to give it a try. And what he realized is that him and his teammates were getting better because of the triangle. Right? It was maximizing him and his ability to maximize his teammates because of the triangle. You guys know the deal, man. An underrated aspect of Michael Jordan's greatness was the fact that he was able to be coachable by all these guys. LeBron James? How many coaches have gotten thrown under the bus because of LeBron James? How many? How many coaches has man been through? They actually got rid of that one guy, Blatt. I can't remember his first name. He was the coach of the Cavaliers when LeBron James first came back. Now, this man had a reputation overseas as a great coach overseas, won many championships overseas, comes to the NBA and coaches half the season, right, in 2016, I believe, right? So they went through the 2015 season. They lost in the finals because of LeBron James, essentially, right? Not being a closer, right? Blow a 2-game-to-1 lead. Okay, they come back the next season, and they're dominating the league. The Cleveland Cavaliers, in the first half of the season, were playing really good basketball. But then they had this Christmas showdown with the Golden State Warriors. And there were some things in that game, right? Richard Jefferson didn't play, and this guy didn't play. And they were questioning that guy's Blatt, right? Guys like LeBron James were questioning him. Next thing you know, he gets fired in the middle of the season. And they bring in Ty Lue in the middle of the season. I don't remember any of Michael Jordan's coaches being fired in the middle of the season. They didn't fire Doug Collins in the middle of the season or Phil Jackson in the middle of a season. This is LeBron James. This is his MO. He's gotten rid of many coaches in his career. Like I said, trying to get rid of Eric Spoelstra. right? It's crazy, guys. You know the deal, man. How many coaches he had in LA now? Is Darvin Ham going to make it another season? He's a coach killer. He's not coachable. LeBron James believes he's the coach. He believes he's the best player, the best coach, the best teammate, everything. Everything he does is right on the money in his mind. So you can't coach him, right? How can you get through to someone like that? He don't listen. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.